Wow. What's going on, creative people? This is Creativity is an Idea podcast, a source of creativity for creative people. And I'm your host, Pyric. I'm very happy and I want you to stay tuned because it's going to be a banger. It's all about creative people sharing their ideas, their challenges, their setbacks, and changes that led to their growth. It's going to be amazing. And stay tuned and see what happens. Creative person like you. What's going on, creative people? Hey, listen. Before I even introduce myself, I have someone here I would like to introduce first before I say my name is Pyric. Already, I said it, but anyway. This guest, her name is Davita Galloway, but I would say Davita Galloway. And if you are in Charlotte, then you should know her. If not, I would say find another state or go look for her and look at what she has been doing. And just recently, she was on Creative Loafing front page. Please, would you hand me that? I had to personally keep this when I found this. If you're watching on YouTube, you get to see it. If you're listening, please go onto YouTube.
You like that photo? You like
Not
that
kidding.
photo?
It's piercing.
It's my little Kim pose. My friend Joe, she
Uh-huh.
did that at YNM Studios. So definitely need to give her a shout.
Wow, it's steady and piercing. Like you're steady. You got a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is beautiful. So if you're listening, go onto YouTube, search for Creativity is an Idea or Davita Galloway. Creativity is an Idea, and you get to see what I'm showing. I'm showing this in the beginning so that you don't have to worry forwarding. Anyway, let me put this aside carefully.
Okay.
So, her name is Davita Galloway, and she is an entrepreneur who is creative. So, a creative entrepreneur, and she's known for Dap and Squat. Dap and Swat.
Yes.
Did
you
I
said
really
it. You
mess
said,
up again?
No, you
Hey,
didn't. You
okay.
said it correctly.
Okay.
At
That's
least you
good.
said that. I have to honestly say we get a lot of renditions of our name, so you did pretty good.
Yeah, Dap and Swat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's amazing, and this is why I'm going to tell you why she's here. I personally believe anybody who hosts a space, who has a space, who brings in creative people from all walks of life, and audience who are professional in the corporate world or not in the corporate world, is someone who has knowledge about what really goes on because she has an idea about the creative people, how they organize events, how things go, how things mess up, how things don't mess up, and how the audience react to something that goes on at a specific location or a specific thing that a creative person do. So that's why she's here. She has a lot to share. So stay tuned and it's going to be a banger. So Davita,
Yes.
Davita.
Davita, yes. Pyric, yes.
Oh, thank you. Tell me, who are you, if I may ask?
So at my core, I'm a little girl. Now, I'm a creative. I'm a passionate creative. I'm humble. I'm a sister.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a daughter. I'm a cousin. I'm a aunt, as we say, aunt, whatever. I'm that.
And
I'm a friend. My friends would say at times, oh, if I'm honest, I don't know if I'm the best friend
uh-huh.
all the time. Just because I go and go and go oftentimes for my business and I'm trying to incorporate more of a balance in my life. If you were to ask my friend Renita right now, I'm sure she would say that she hates me right now because I've been absent in that world, not intentionally, and so I have to make it up to her super fast and quickly. But yeah, I'm learning, growing, butterflying
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. Yeah.
Butterflying at the same time, learning and growing and butterflying.
Figuring this thing called life. I'm an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I get shit done. I do things. I'm all of that.
Get
Yeah.
shit done.
I get shit done.
All right. So, Davida,
Yes.
tell me, how was your childhood like? Because I see you have a lot of tats on you, right?
Yeah.
Everything should have a meaning.
Oh,
They
it
should-
does.
Yeah, they should have a meaning.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry to say, some kid was like 14 years. He was like, "Why did you get this tattoo?" I was 14, you know. I know what that means, but I believe
Right.
with your life, everything on you has a meaning. So I want to
Yes.
ask you, how was your childhood like?
How deep you want to get into this now? But okay. Generally speaking, it was beautiful. Like we have two wonderful parents who genuinely love us without bias or without limits, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And as parents, they wanted to see and they wanted us to experience the best. I can honestly say that we were loved tremendously. We are loved tremendously from both of our parents. But it was certain things that I went through
Mm-hmm.
as a child that created, shaped, molded this person you see in front of you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Always been an intelligent student, always. And in school, that was never a thing. 4.0 was commonplace for
Mm-hmm.
me in school. But however, I got picked on because of the way that I looked. I always looked a little odd or a little weird, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I've been wearing glasses since forever. But when I was younger, I had the really big frames. But because I love colors, like the top portion was like red, purple and the bottom was pink, but they were just so huge sitting on my face, right? And so here's this girl with big old glasses and who never matched. Like what I wore was like horrendous in the eyes of parents and others, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I was comfortable. I've always been comfortable being the odd one in. So just dealing with being picked on because of the way I looked has always been a thing for me. And now I'm just confident in the person I am.
Mm-hmm.
But it was some other things that I had to endure, like being diagnosed with Crohn's at an early age. I started having issues with it at the age of 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, literally, like, one day I was out riding bikes with friends, jumping on our trampoline, and literally the next day I was on the floor in the fetal position crying. Like, it was literally that quick the way it hit. And it took doctors a year for them to actually diagnose me. And so throughout that year, I'm ingesting different kinds of medicine. I'm getting shots. I'm all kinds of um, procedures are being done on a 7-year-old, you know, but finally diagnosed at 8. And throughout the years, I've had surgery because of Crohn's and its inflammation. Um, so, you know, that was something that I had to endure as a
Mm-hmm.
child. Being molested was something I had to endure as a child. I was 10. My 21-year-old cousin molested me. I mean, so, you know, good, bad, I take it. But throughout all of those things, I always not relied, but art was always there to
Mm-hmm.
pull me up out of those moments, you know. 16, got my first tattoo. My father signed for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been on and popping since, you
Uh-huh.
know. What other things can I share? I used to strip
Uh-huh.
when I was 18. I was getting to the money, okay? I was getting to the money. I mean, so I've experienced a lot of different things in
Mm-hmm.
life, you know. Um, I've been arrested. I've got my master's, so it's like, you know, I've experienced a lot of bad and oh my God, what did she do? But I've also experienced a lot of wonderful positive moments, you know,
Uh-huh.
good things in life.
Yeah.
So, and I guess I like living on the edge and and I love that I've been able to experience all of those things. You know, I have no regrets. I'm trying to see what trouble I can get into now.
A good
Nah,
trouble.
good trouble. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? This is where I say I've gone blank, but in a sense that I was thinking and digesting the things you were saying. So I'm just going to pick another question and just ask. When I remember what I wanted to ask, I'll ask you.
Well,
Wow, you
okay.
said a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. And that's the thing. People assume so much about a person, right? You
Mhm.
assume so much about a person, but you never really know until you sit down and have these conversations.
Thank you. I remember the question.
Okay. See? All right.
That's good. So, Davida, I want to ask you. You said a lot. Okay. What event wouldn't you ever forget, good or bad?
Ooh, quite a few events, but one, sorry, allergies. But one event in particular that I won't forget, that kind of changed the course of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. was being arrested. This is when I just graduated from UNC Charlotte with my master's.
Mm-hmm.
And I was finally at the point where I was like, I'm going to do me finally, because up until that point, I figured I was living the life everyone else wanted me to. Like, I didn't want to go to UNC Charlotte per se. I wanted to go to a design school. But again, my parents, it just wasn't a real thing for them. So in that case, for me, so I got my master's, and at that point, I was like, okay, I've done everything you wanted me to do. Now I'm going to do me. So um, I moved to New York literally a week later, and I was working at Anthropology and going to school at Parsons School of Design. Finally doing me, and even in that in that school environment, even though I was surrounded by creatives, I wasn't happy. Because it was, I guess, still school, and the teacher wanted to know, why did you choose this color? Why did you choose this print? Why did you render the fabric that way? And for me, oftentimes because I wanted to, because it felt good for me to do the fabric this way as opposed to that way, and in an educational environment, that isn't the way you should articulate yourself. They want to know exactly why, not based on your feelings or whatever. So, I dropped out of Parsons and just started working full time at Anthropology at Union Square. And, I was in New York by myself. I had my own apartment. I didn't want roommates or anything because I was finally doing me, and I wanted my parents to see this version of me being successful, right? And so bills they hit hard, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, what I'm going to do to get more money, because I have to sustain myself and do all these things. So long story short, I just started stealing from Anthropology. And it took me a while to do so because, of course, I have a conscience, and my gut and mind and everything was telling me no. But real life was saying, bitch, you got these bills to pay, so what's up? And I didn't, my ego, my pride wouldn't allow me to ask my parents for anything at that point. So, first time I hit, as I call it, it was on the same day that they fired a disgruntled employee. And so my thinking was, if I take the money now, they're just going to assume that it was him who took it.
Smart.
Okay. So the first time I hit, I took $500. $500 from the safe, and that night I could not sleep. Like, I was like, what is going on? But no one ever approached me, for whatever reason. And so it got easier the next time to do so, and the next time, and the next time, and months later the next time.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so I'm 9 months in, okay, and I've amassed quite a bit of money, several $1,000s, and probably more money in like actual goods that I was just taking. But what's so interesting about this story is that during my time of taking the money, LP came in. LP is loss prevention. As you know, maybe when they came in, and me and this guy, I'm not gonna name any names, but we got really close. We worked together, like, because Anthropology would get hit all the time. Like, it was a store making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a day. So I mean, of course, it was people coming in all the time trying to take, and so I was taking internally. LP came in, and one day he took me out to lunch, and he sat down, and he was like, Davita, I see some things are going on in your department, because I was an apparel manager. I see some things going on in your department. Do you know what's going on? Here I am. In my department? No. What? Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to pay close attention to what's going on. And when I find out what's happening, I'm going to let you know. Like, that was my response. And clearly he was giving me my out. Just he wanted me to just admit to it, and maybe we could have hashed something out, worked something out. But me, it was too good. I was like, yeah, right. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know what's the problem. And so, 2 months later, I have a dream, Martin Luther King, and I see how things unfold and how I'm arrested. And literally the following day, everything went down as I saw it the night before. So being arrested was that was that. I don't know what that was, God or some kind of premonition, but something told me what was going to happen, and really everything played itself out as it appeared in my dream. And now, granted, I could have skipped out on work that day. I could have just ran home, but I chose to face it because literally I was tired. I was tired of lying. I was tired of having to hide and plot and plan. You know, all of that gets to you. And I was doing it for a long time. So I'm not built to be a criminal, basically, is what I learned.
Yeah.
But being arrested, I hit ground zero, for lack of a better word. I hit ground zero. And so my family came and got me, and I was back in Winston. And it was at my lowest point, literally my lowest point in life, that I decided to do me and believe in what's always been there and refind my purpose and my mission. And it's because of that being arrested that literally I'm here now. Because had I not been arrested, I'd still be working in anthropology, advancing in anthropology, but neglecting me and my passion. And so it's because of hitting that I decided to give me and my life a try.
Yeah. There is this saying, I'm going to piggyback on that. You know, a catapult.
Yes.
You just have to pull it back. Then you leave it before it can shoot the stone to your target. So sometimes a setback is really
a setup, honey. That's a setup for something greater.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I was watching a movie. I'm kidding.
My life is definitely movie time. No, really.
Wow.
So many stories I can share and tell. We'll be on here for days, but
Wow. This is in the public, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know I know what to say.
Where do we go from there?
Okay, I'm just thinking like, oh boy, okay. Okay. Let me stop thinking about it.
I'm literally transparent. I'm an open book, so whatever you want to ask, it's okay.
Yeah, that's really good to know. So, Davida, now you partly own, right?
Me and my brother own it. Yeah.
Dion?
Yeah, Dion. My homie, my friend, my everything, really.
Yeah. So big ups to Dion.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, when did you get the idea, or how did you get the idea to do what you're doing now, being a creative entrepreneur and having an event space now, 2 locations, and you started a magazine and other stuff also on the side. So when did you get the idea? Like, Eureka!
It wasn't necessarily a eureka moment, but so that process. So again, being back in Winston after leaving New York, I used to customize hats for my brother, and so we were going back and forth about having that be the business, and so we were coming up with all these kinds of different names, but nothing really worked, and everything that we thought of was already trademarked. And so again, one of those moments where it's just a gift, like that dream was a gift for me. The idea to name our brand Dup and Swat was a gift. It literally came to me, and it works because it's genuinely us, and it's our nickname. So it just made sense for us to name our brand that. He's Dup and I'm Swat, if you were wondering.
Oh, okay.
If you were wondering. And so we decided to coin it that. And so the idea of how do we become this thing in Charlotte, this brand in Charlotte, is after the hat idea, I started doing a lot of photo shoots here in Charlotte, and got to meet a lot of different creatives, designers, and beauty talent. And I was working a lot out of my home as a wardrobe stylist and as a costumer. And I decided that I needed space. Like, I wanted to leave my home because literally I was there all day for work and play, And so my brother was not for the idea at first. Like, he did not want to get a space. But it was important for me to do so. So we agreed to get the space in Noda near Amelie's beside Red. And we used it for what we needed, but we had so much space available. And so literally when we opened our doors, we had all kinds of creatives, all kinds of people coming in asking hey, you have all this wall space. Can we put our artwork up? You know what? Well, shit, yeah, go
Uh-huh.
ahead. We had designers coming in. We had a few racks, but they were like, "Oh, can we house our stuff?" You know what? Out, you certainly can. So it kind of happened organically.
Mm-hmm.
What we do, we had the space to accommodate, and so we allowed this platform for designers, for creatives to come in our box and
Mm-hmm.
play, and that led to all the different events. That led to all of the serious networking. That led to people believing in themselves and believing in an idea that
Mm-hmm.
they had. And all of that, all of our saying yes to locals here in Charlotte and elsewhere stemmed from my brother saying yes to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he gave me my yes to do this. And so we give others their yes to do their thing. Yeah.
That is excellent. So I was going to ask you some bunch of questions, but
Sure.
before I do, tell me, Davida, what do you have going on now? Like, what have you been doing?
Living and surviving and breathing is what have I been doing? Professionally, just getting both locations together and at a point where they feel stable.
Mm-hmm.
Our plaza location, now, if I'm super honest, we're not too happy with that location.
Mm.
And the reason why, we just feel like it's not the best location for what we do. So those who are listening, make sure that you find a location that is conducive to your business. Like, for us, parking is an issue, and it's
Ooh.
an old building. And so we've been able to go in, and we did a lot of work to the interior, but the exterior needs a lot of work. And the landlord, they be waiting and not doing and giving us dates, and the dates pass and they give us new dates. So we're kind of just
Yeah.
over that situation. But
Yeah.
our Camp North End location, we absolutely love it. And so we're going to have to make a decision soon, if I'm honest with you, about what we're going to do with that plaza
Mm-hmm.
location. So working on those, working on events for our business and elsewhere, otherwise. So events, what do we have coming up? Booze and News will be returning to our plaza location in September. All of this is on our website. Check that out. We're doing a movie night August 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just gonna watch Roxanne, based on Roxanne Shante.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have planned? We're gonna do another repurposed fashion show with the city of Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I work with the Levine on a monthly basis, and I'm doing events with them. And in September, we're going to kickstart, where we're talking about privilege, however you define privilege, but specifically, we're going to get into how racism impacts
Mm-hmm.
privilege, and those biases and so forth. Um, Few events that I have coming up with Team Black Girl Fly, which is a platform to celebrate and highlight Black women.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do like this all day workshop September 8th, and then we're gonna conclude with a brunch Sukasa Day party September 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a seat at the table awards in Raleigh again to celebrate and highlight Black women who are doing things and running shit locally in different cities. So we're gonna do one in Raleigh in September. Here and there. Personally, trying to get my me time in between all of that. Yeah, learning to love a little. Dating is a beast here in Charlotte, okay? Dating is a monster. Okay, I don't know if you've experienced, but I've experienced it.
Hey,
So
hey, I have
Oh,
experience.
okay,
I have
okay.
experienced
Okay, so you understand.
it.
Dating is
Yeah, I'll have a book to write. But it's
you got a book to write.
Yeah, I
Well,
have
I'm
all
gonna add
that.
to that book, okay? Yeah, just trying to be out and about in the scene. Like I shared with you earlier, you can't really talk about how you support the art scene and not actually do it. So
Mhm.
just go and just show support to our friends who are out here,
Mhm.
shaking and baking in the city, because a lot is moving. It's what's happening is great.
Mhm.
It's good. So I just want to show my face and support.
Mm. That is excellent. I'm about to ask you, what is your source of creativity? But before I do, Davida, let me ask you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. There's a Newton's law which I always paraphrase, and it goes this way: in order for you to, I'm paraphrasing,
Yeah.
in order for you to go up, there are certain things you have to leave behind before you can move up. So, what did you leave behind before you saw progress?
Fuck boys. Nah, okay. What did I have to leave? What did I have to Sorry, you can edit that.
Hey, no, fuck that. We are not editing this. Hey, if you check the other episode, you see that I don't take anything out.
Very good. Okay. Because that was in my heart of hearts. I had to share. Doubt. You know what? You have to leave doubt behind. And you have to limit hell and or leave behind pressure, the opinions of others, opinions. Yeah, is what I really want to say. Because we're all gifted certain talents, certain gifts, right? And you were gifted certain things that I wasn't. I was gifted certain things that you weren't. But whatever we were given, I feel like it's our responsibility and our obligation to see those come to life, to manifest those things. And so once you realize that, then there's no room for doubt. And I'm the kind of person, like, I don't want to regret anything. I don't want to have any shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Like, that's not a part of my narrative. Like, that's not what I'm about. I can only imagine how many ideas are currently buried in the ground. When people die, they're literally in the ground. How many ideas were buried with them? Like, I don't want that to happen. I want my impact to live on. And so, the removal of doubt, the removal of having what people say have such an impact on me. That's definitely what I had to leave behind.
Had to leave doubts behind.
Yeah. Fear, all of that.
Yeah, fear comes in different forms.
It does.
It comes in opportunity, but it's actually a fear.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it and go do that, but
Right.
it's fear.
It's fear, and being able to maneuver fear, shake fear, like just being able to maneuver past that is monumental. And a lot of people will be able to live their best life if they just kick that thing to the side.
That's good. Well, so Davida,
Yes.
what is your source of creativity?
So I've been asked this question. So for life, but I know that's like, yeah, girl, but what else? Like, but I mean, in all things, I find it. But I guess music, because even though I participate in a lot of different creative forms, music is always present. When I'm writing or drawing or sketching or designing or playing with fabric, music is the constant. So I guess I would have to say music, and I listen to a lot of different music.
Music. Excellent. But you have a huge playlist.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can go from to Nina to I can listen to all genres of music equally, with the exception of country. I can't really get into that genre specifically. Maybe a few
My
songs.
girl left me, my dog
I
died.
mean, listen, maybe a few songs here and there. Like Johnny Cash is the man, I can dig some Johnny Cash, but like other than that, not so much. But literally every other genre I'm here for.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Davida. Like,
Yes.
who is your influence? I wouldn't say who's your icon, but who is your source?
Who influences me?
Yeah, who's your influence?
Wow. For a few different reasons. I mean, it's a lot of people who influence me. If I'm honest, my grandmother, she passed a few years ago, but she continues to be a major influence in my life. Like, that is my doll baby sweet thing, like my everything, so much so like a lot of my tattoos are in memory of her. My family, they influence me. Rihanna influences me. Rihanna's just so dope.
Riri.
I love Riri, I really do. um Diddy influences me. My brother influences me. um Barack and Michelle influence me. Trump influences me. Um, Kanye influences me. Um, if I'm honest, I see myself in a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. Yeah.
That is good. Well, we are about to wrap up. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
He was just playing.
So let me ask you, like, you having a space and dealing with creative people day in, day out, and audience that do come spectate creative people, what would you say to anybody who is a person who has an event space or a business owner who organize events and the creative people? What if you were to tell them something? You were to sit down one on one with them, with one person, let me say, what would you say?
Is this person aspiring to have their own business, or
Aspiring or into it, just let it flow, already in it or aspiring.
what would I say to a business owner? How you do it? What's your bottom line looking like? And I think I would just want to have that conversation about how are they able to sustain themselves, and particularly for a creative business, because we're here in Charlotte, and I feel like our businesses are being marginalized, our businesses are being taken from us, our businesses are being pushed away from us. And in the place in which we once were are condos and restaurants and breweries. So I'm interested in how another creative business is able to sustain themselves in a city where art is almost, for lack of a better word, taken as a joke.
Gradually being pushed
Yeah.
aside slowly.
Yeah, silenced because we don't have a place. So our voices are being taken from us. And so to another creative owner, I would say, how are you able to sustain? What is it that we can do together to collaborate on to make sure that our voices will always be heard? That would be the
The
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
Well, what about the creative person who like to perform at event space and stuff? Like, what would you like to tell them or tell that person? Anything they can put in their knee and walk with.
Again, it's about having that confidence in your talent and in your craft and in what you do. Because again, you were gifted that for a reason. I would say, what are you doing to push your presence upon others? Like, it's one thing. A lot of people talk. People talk all day about what they want to do and how they want to do this and how they. But okay, where's the action? Like, what? Then what? Like, people will talk me to death. I ain't got time for your talking.
Someone would say, man,
Show up.
they're fucking my ears.
Yeah, like, stop. Like, really, stop. Show up. No more talking. You ain't got to say nothing else to me. Let me see what you got. You know? Are you going into these venues and letting them know you need to be heard? And if they say no, are you going to another? Like, don't let a no stop you, impede you. You know how many no's we got? And we still get no. I'm not, but it's not gonna do anything over here. That's why we're able to have our own. That's why we created our own, because we're not. Our success, what we do, is no longer contingent upon anybody else's no.
Because
So it's like you just gotta go hard for yourself. Who else is going to go hard? There's no one who's gonna go as hard for you.
I know who's gonna go hard.
Who?
Me.
Okay, and that's it. So you've got to push it. You've
Yeah.
got to push it. And I think these artists, they need to believe that. You know, they need to believe that. I feel like a lot of them allow a no to damper their mood, or they get this one no and they go put their instrument up. Are you kidding me? If everything was easy, everyone will be doing this. You know, it's
It would
not
be boring.
right. Right. You got. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to show up, do something, and stop ear fucking people.
Stop ear fucking people.
Yeah. Fuck me.
Right. Right.
So that
In a
is that's
nutshell.
really good. Yeah. So good to know. Huh. So let me ask you, Davida. What do you think about your industry in terms of the creative industry and I would say owning a space? What do you think about it?
Owning a space, it needs to be more black spaces, more black owned spaces in Charlotte. Because, you know, it's one thing for an event, a space, an initiative to be for us. You know, anyone can do an event that's for us, but it needs to be by us. It needs to be for us and by us. Like, we need to have the event. We need to have the space, because it's about representation. And it's also about we're dope AF. And so we should be able to have these things and own these things. That's super important, not only for our generation, but for others. The young people, as in babies, they need to see their mothers, their fathers, their auntie, uncles, cousins, friends owning stuff.
Yeah.
That gives them, that plants the idea that they too can do this, you know? Wait, what was the question?
Yeah, you're right. I was asking you about your industry.
Oh, yeah.
And something that I would like to point out, I think now we are talking about you saying black people need to own their spaces
Yeah.
in Charlotte in particular. When I came to the US, right, I haven't really expressed this publicly, but this is going to be the time. When I came to the US and there's this, the black Americans do know more about the slavery more than I do. I do know it because it happened in Ghana.
Yes.
We have buildings and things that shows the presence of slavery in the past, and there are stories and fight and British and all those stuff, information records that proves something happened.
Sure.
So nothing was taken from us in terms of us being placed somewhere, losing our history. I'm still in Ghana and I'm aware of my history and things that goes on. But if I am brought to the US not knowing anything, it's like something is missing. So the howling and yearning for what is lost and what has been taken will be higher. But I'm in Ghana and the howling and yearning is low because I feel nothing has been taken from me.
Okay.
So I wasn't really able to look at things from the perspective of the black Americans here who, quote unquote, always who say complain about
what?
racism.
Oh,
But the thing is that it's not their fault because things were taken. They were taken away and brought to this place, so they lost history. And everything they know may not be the truth then.
yeah.
So it took me a while to understand the passion and the reason behind the black Americans always talking about the slavery, always talking about the white privilege issue and stuff. And when Black Panther came out, I was like, why are they like, whoa, whoa, whoa? I'm like, I was trying to understand. I was trying to put myself in their shoes.
Why we were so excited about
Yes.
Black Panther?
Then, yeah. So
Okay.
then I was watching the movie and I was watching another movie, all the superheroes movie. And I had a friend, Carlos, right? He's a poet. He was on this show. We were talking and he says, he mentioned something which rang the bell in my head that they don't have anything to look upon. The black people don't have any image to look upon. Like, okay,
Right.
this is us. This
Right.
is myself, my skin color doing that.
Absolutely.
And all the time, all they see is villains. And,
Absolutely. Again, it's representation. representation is important no matter the genre, no matter the medium. We have to see ourselves in certain roles, in all roles, for it to make sense and for it to feel attainable. That this is also something that we can achieve. So representation is important. But back to the slavery. So yeah, I mean, ancestors, yeah, we're black, so there's a link somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But even though we may not be experiencing that form of slavery, it has just morphed into other limitations. I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but privilege shows itself in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different forms. I mean, right now you have mass incarceration. That's just another way for that's slavery. You know how the statistics blow my mind, but and I'm not gonna repeat any numbers because it's a little foggy. But a lot of black men, a lot of people of color are imprisoned right now for minor hits like weed. I mean, and drug stuff. It's like minor occurrences and minor infractions that we are arrested for. You know, and so that's just another form of slavery. It really is. It's like the prison pipeline is something serious. So it may not be. Well, it's just a different kind of chain. It's a different kind of chain gang these days, and so that's why we're complaining. Because I'm a part of that too. Because I see it. Privilege exists. You know, when I go into certain spaces, I'm oftentimes the only black person there. Oftentimes, you know. And initially, it felt a little daunting, but then it just got to a point where I was like, I'm here for a reason. I'm not going to make myself smaller to feel more comfortable or to make you feel more comfortable because my presence is here. I'm going to show up as my black self every time, all the time, in every arena. And if you say something that I do not agree with, then I'm going to politely interject. And it's also important for me when I'm in these different spaces to bring others with me, to bring other people of color with me, because otherwise, I mean, in most cases, majority wins, right? That's how it works here. If I'm the only black person, are they really going to understand my viewpoint? Are they really going to get it? Are they really going to invest into this event, this idea? Are they going to view it as important?
Yeah. And tell you what, we are all prejudiced, and that is for survival.
No,
Because
yeah, absolutely.
If we are not,
To a
things will
certain
happen.
extent, absolutely. Yeah.
So if someone is being prejudiced about something, I don't blame them. It's due to what they've heard and what they've seen. And they just have to be present to see what is going on. Leave all prejudice idea outside and listen to what anybody has to say. And it's always good, you know. And one thing, maybe people of color or black people don't really somehow present themselves in those places.
Wait, what you mean?
So in terms of, you go to a place and you see that you're the only person. A hypothetical example, you go to a place and you realize you're the only black lady there. Maybe some of the black people haven't been venturing to those sectors.
That has a lot to do with it. But it also has a lot to do with that they aren't invited there. So, I mean, there are a few ways we could. So, one, we have to be invited, or two, we can just show up, right? But they have to know about the event in the first place to show up, right? Yeah. So that's the thing. Knowing about the event is what may be shared and may not be shared. They're not going to share it with you because you aren't privy to that information because they don't want you to be there.
Yeah, I remember back in Uptown, I go to some events, and when I sit down, I'm like, shoot, where are they?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
Exactly.
What did you know about this?
Right.
So anyway, we can go about it all day. Anyway, that was good, something good to talk about. And I really respect everybody's feelings on the slavery and stuff, and it's good that they don't hold on to the victimization perception.
Well, I mean, listen, we can go on and on about that, but you see how we're being targeted out here, whether it's the cost. And I know people can say that, that we provoke them, but no, in certain cases we do not. In certain cases, we do not, and we and our family members end up dead. So it's a real thing. I think we cannot be blind or ignorant about the situation. I do certainly believe that we are being targeted. What's the girl, Nia, over in Cali? Like, she was just murdered. Like, a dude walked up to her and slit her neck because of what?
I had
Like, things happen and it's not okay. So it's just another form, whether you call it slavery, oppression, prejudice. It happens, and we oftentimes are on the receiving end of it.
yeah. Well. Creative people. That's the creative world for you. So,
Nah, I mean,
Davida, we are about to wrap up.
okay.
But before we do, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll be gossiping before we wrap up, but let's put that aside. Let me ask you, if you were to say something, or what do you wish you knew when you were starting, or at this point, like looking back, what do you wish you knew?
What's about? Um, I I wish I knew how difficult it was going to be to start a business. Like, it's so hard. The reason why we do it, and we do it happily, though, is because it's worth it to us. But it's so difficult to maintain and sustain. And it's me and my brother, and we have 2 employees. But it's so many different moving parts with the business. From the rooter to the tutor, from inventory, from dealing with clients, to dealing with guests, to different designers, to event planning. I mean, and it's because we do so much that our responsibilities appear endless. So I wish I really knew what we were getting into. I mean, granted, I would have done it anyway. I still would do this. There's not a day that I wish I was doing something else. But I wish I was aware of the magnitude of what we were creating and building. I also wish I had known that it was going to be difficult to get funding. That's a real thing, like with our nonprofit, and just getting other organizations. When I say other organizations, like funding organizations to believe in your purpose and in your mission. And I don't mean to go on another tangent, but I feel like those doors have begun to lift just because of a stage I took last year. Like, as soon as I took the creative morning stage, and I was placed in front of a different audience, an audience that doesn't look like me, it's finally like that particular population gave me the nod. Like, okay, she hit this stage and she was able to speak to all these people. Okay, she must be cleared. She must be good to go. And so now, since she's done this rites of passage, so to speak, now we can give her and her organizations grant monies to do what she needs to do. She's okay. She's the safe one. Politics everywhere, really.
Sure.
Really. But it's
Wow.
all good. We built for it. We here. We been here. We gonna stay here.
To the next generations.
Yeah. I mean, it's always gonna be some kind of fight. We just understand and realize that this fight is worth it.
Yeah. Beautiful storm. What do you got? Come.
All right, let's get it.
Yeah.
I mean, one way or another,
Wow.
we're gonna have to go through it. So
The exciting part is when you look back, everything is still like progressing.
absolutely.
And now you're enjoying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, it can seem so momentous and overwhelming, and oh my God, what I'm gonna do? But one day at a time, one moment at a time, just keep moving forward. You'll get around it, or you'll get through it.
So before we gossip, I just remembered something. I want to know from you, Davida. What do you do day in, day out to see gradual progress? Because me, day in, day out, all I do is sleep, as I told you.
I sleep too. You got to get that in. Like, I'm the kind of person, if I don't get 6 hours, don't talk to me.
Oh, snap.
No, really. Don't talk to me. Don't even think about it. Um, but what do I do to be aware of my progress? So I'm the girl. I write lists. I have lists for days. And that's how I keep track of things. You know, a lot of people keep journals, diaries, that kind of thing. I have notebooks full of lists and bullet points. And for me, nothing gives me more joy than being able to cross something out. You know, like that for me feels wonderful. Like I feel so accomplished.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how I keep track of things. Now, granted, there are some things in my notebook that aren't crossed off yet, and that's because it's not time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if an idea comes, wherever it comes from, I write it down because again, it's a gift. It's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I write it down, but I might not be able to get to it at that point in time because I may not have the resources or I just don't feel like it. It's too overwhelming at that moment. So I write it down and I'll come back. But you know, simple stuff, like as long as I cross some stuff off my list every day, I'm good.
You're good.
Yes, I'm good.
All right. We're about to gossip. This is a private
Gossiping?
conversation now. So if you're listening, you can choose to not eavesdrop.
I choose to. Who really cuts it off at this point? This is where it's about to
Hey.
be.
So at this point, you can vent, you can whine, you can compliment, you can criticize, you can whatever. Any global, public, celebrity, personal, anything. Just let it flow.
Okay, Trump is a dick. Charlotte, we've got so much to do. Like I've seen the progression. We're living in the progression, but we got to work together. And when I say we, I'm specifically talking about the creative community because there are pockets of us here and there and there. But I feel like if we present as a unified front, no one's going to be able to take us for granted. Okay, so we need to not on some kumbaya, but on some respect. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something that we need to do. If I see another goddamn condo, okay, pop up, like what are we? Who's moving into the? Please let me know. Like there's literally condos being built on every block.
Not kidding. Where are they going to work?
I mean,
to stay there.
I'm just saying, and it's like affordable housing is a joke here in Charlotte. It is, and I keep rambling off this fact, but it's important to say. Again, it is if you are working full time at minimum wage, you should be paying $350 on a 1-bedroom apartment. That should be your rent. However, the average 1-bedroom here in Charlotte, as of this year, is like $1,400. There's a disconnect. There's a grave disconnect. Okay, so that doesn't even make sense. Okay, so let's just start there. Why in the hell is the RNC coming here? Why? What? Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, why? So, you know, me and some of my friends, we are definitely plotting on ways to make a statement while they're making their statement. Because Trump is a dick. And what else? Food. You know what? I'm so hungry right now. I love food. So I'm grateful for all the wonderful eating establishments here in Charlotte. A few of my favorite. I love Mr. Charles Chicken and Fish. He's on Statesville Avenue. I love Black On. I love Mertz. But I also love JJ Red Hots. You know, I like Ink and Ivy. I like them posh places as well. Sea Level, McCormick's, yum, yum, yum. You know, I've never been to, is it Chima's? I've never been there.
Where is it?
Tryon.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never been.
Chima's.
I love a good brunch spot. Love brunch. I love me a good brunch. Okay. Someone was saying Mango's has a pretty good brunch in Noda. Have you been there?
No, I haven't been there.
I love High's Brewery. I love Benny Pinellas. They $5 pizza is a wonderful thing to my soul. I just like eating.
To my soul.
Yeah. Common Market. Anyway.
Such a delight. Delight to my senses.
Right. Shout out Salone and her family, that Ace of Spud food truck. You know, they started, I think it's been up and running for maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks now. Shouts to y'all for getting that going. That's what's up.
So that was good. So at this point, we are about to wrap up. And Davida, Tell
Yes,
them
pirate.
where can they find you?
I mean, I be out and about in these streets and stuff. So you can find me at 2521 The Plaza. That's our location of Dup and Swat, as well as our location at Camp North End. 1824 Statesville Avenue, Suite 109. I'm on social media, Dup and Swat Everything. That's DUPPANDSWAT. That's all business stuff. Personally, I'm on social media too. Instagram, the Davita Galloway or the Davita Galloway. That's it. You can Google us. Google Dup and Swat. Google Davita Galloway. You know we got hits. So that's about it.
That's excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, creative people, if you're listening to this, check the description. You find a link to what she's saying, her Instagram page. And if you're in other states, if you're listening to this, if you come to Charlotte, you should look for this place and you would be amazed. So it was a pleasure, Davida. Sorry for stopping you from
I
dancing.
know you're good.
Hey, it was a pleasure, and as always.
Oh, of course. Thank
you.
you for
Thanks a
having
lot.
me.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
And as always, please don't fuck up. But if you do fuck up real good
Yeah.
to help other people.
Please.
I have no clue what that means, but it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds great. Actually.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all. You can stop listening if you're listening. All right. That was it.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Wonderful.